Everyone, welcome to today's video. We have another Ghost Recon Breakpoint video on the chopping block. So today we're going to be looking at something that I feel, in terms of the way games are structured compared to Ghost Recon, it's brought people to the point where they've misinterpreted what kind of game this is. Now, I myself, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to Ghost Recon because the first official Ghost Recon game that I played was Wildlands. Now, I come from a very different genre. The video game that brought me into shooting games was a Tom Clancy game, but it wasn't Ghost Recon. It just happened to be Tom Clancy's The Division. And so that was a game I played dedicatedly, and I started my YouTube channel based on it. I would rather had been playing my old superhero games if they were pumping them out every year or every few years, and would probably have never touched a shooter. But on engaging with The Division, it really provided a third-person perspective in a shooter that I never necessarily knew I could experience in many video games out there. Maybe there are games like that, but Division was the first one that I kind of got my hands on, and it got me into this particular genre or genres of similar magnitude. So you think about Ghost Recon Wildlands when it came out around the time of The Division, and I, tried to play the game, and it didn't necessarily click at first until I started going back because I knew what the Tom Clancy franchise was sort of about, and I was, very curious. I always loved to learn these things, and it then kind of took me to the place where I realized that the way that Tom Clancy has structured his universe and the old games under the Ghost Recon Rainbow Six, and all of those other video games made from the storylines from the in the franchise anyways, required for you to be able to play militaristic tactical style gameplay. In fact, I think Ghost Recon Wildlands and Breakpoint are kind of a bold step in a different direction from the original formulas that the video games developers that had been developing in Red Storm used in the past. But nonetheless, things usually evolve and change, so I was able to kind of understand more of what the game was, and I really did enjoy the experience I had in Wildlands. Now, honestly, I don't even remember if I even played too long because, again, playing The Division also requires a huge investment of time, and that's basically something I did for my YouTube channel. Now, coming into Ghost Recon Breakpoint, there was something that was a theme in terms of a lot of the, feedback that I'd been getting so far from my videos, especially with the Motherland update. And some people have mentioned that they felt that Ghost Recon Breakpoint was somewhat boring. In fact, some people even elaborated more and said they felt it was boring when they first picked it up, but coming to the Motherland update, the game seems to have changed and they're enjoying the game now. Now, what could have changed in the time that they first picked the game up all the way through now? Now, yes, we know from the Motherland update and even version 2 update, there were a lot of different mechanics changes. They added the immersive mode and all the other things, but still, you had to still play the game in a way that required what Tom Clancy's Ghost games did require, which was a slow, methodical, tactical, and very, very precise way of engaging enemy NPCs and engaging encounters. That's basically the premise of a ghost game. In fact, it's mentioned in the name. You're supposed to be a ghost. When you get your mission directives, they try to emphasize how much it will be really important and critical for you to make yourself as unknown as possible when executing tasks, taking out baddies, and actually doing and carrying out and completing objectives. So that's the very first thing any player who wants to come into Ghost Recon needs to understand. So before you judge the game based on your past experience of fast-paced shooters, this is something that you have to bring to the forefront of your mind. For me, it's something that took a while for me to get into. Because like I said, and I made sure I mentioned The Division in this video, it is a very fast-paced game. There is almost no stealth. In fact, there is no stealth in Tom Clancy's The Division at all. The moment you fire at one enemy NPC, even if you may have a silencer or if you have a suppressor, whatever it is you call it, depending on the part of the world you are, once one enemy NPC is hit, the other enemy NPCs in the vicinity are triggered, and even more start getting triggered around the world if you're playing The Division 2. So that game is designed for high energy, cover-based shooting, which is something that you do have the luxury of. You have a lot of cover elements around you. So these two games are structured very differently. In fact, playing one game and then trying to come into the other game requires you to take the effort to change your conditioning almost on the fly, because some people play both games intermittently. They'll play a little bit of Division, they'll play a little bit of Ghost Recon. But now that there's not been a lot of Division content, many of us have now migrated here, and we now have the opportunity to just focus on what Ghost Recon has to offer and appreciate the game for what it is. So this video is actually a video to just tell anyone who may be thinking about picking this game back up, or maybe picking up the game now that it's on sale, is before you jump in and say, this game sucks because of this, you really need to understand exactly what kind of game it is. In fact, if I would give another analogy, there are games that are tactical based shooters, and then there are games that are basically just shooters that do have that, not necessarily the tactical based side of things, but they're more like, linear shooting experiences. Then you have The Division, which is a cover based shooter experience. And you also have a game like Destiny, which also has kind of a linear / cover based RPG, mixture where you can do all of these different things in different scenarios. And so when you take into consideration that these games require different kinds of pacing, then I think it really puts Ghost Recon in its own context. In fact, some people have started to recommend to me Sniper Elite, which is also another kind of a Ghost game, slow, methodical, tactical game. And I'm actually looking for the game right now in order to basically add them to my library to different series. I think right now I saw that there are about 4 of them. So for those of you who've been commenting, I really do appreciate the recommendation, because I really want to look into that game, because now I can really tap into the side of my gaming experience that just wants me to play really slow, especially coming from the last video game that I spent some more time in was Far Cry 6, where it's just run and gun and chaos. And so it's really nice to have things a little bit organized before actually jumping into a gaming session, or while in the gaming session, I find myself organizing things. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. For those of you who've played Ghost Recon since Tom Clancy first wrote his first letter for his first book, I'm just joking. Well, some of you are really hardcore, Tom Clancy fans. I really want to hear from you. Please comment in the comment section and let us know what your experience is and what you would advise a new player, like a newbie, a fresh person coming into this perspective about Ghost Recon. If you have to write a long comment, you can pull the car on the side of the road and basically talk about the history and kind of let them know how things, in a sense, have diverged, and give a very good detailed evaluation if you may, because I think it's really going to be helpful for new and future players that are trying to come into this franchise. But anyways, I'll leave this video here. Hopefully we'll talk very soon about some more Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I really do appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen to the video. Thanks once again, and peace out.